Michelle, if we can go to the next page. Up to the green, please. And he says here, I'm sad, I'm scared, and I'm broken, my sweet Slim. And then he says, I want you happy. I have zero harsh feelings. I am clear and I am me. What did you understand him to mean by I am clear and I am me?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
Do you
I know what he meant.
Okay.
But, Your Honor,
Did
there's
he
a
use
lot.
that phrase with you?
Hold on. I'll sustain that objection.
I'm trying to get to the
I
next
know.
one here.
Then you can ask your next question. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. Did he use those phrases with you during your marriage?
Yes, he did.
What did Mr. Depp mean when he says, I am clear and I am me?
Objection. Calls for speculation.
I think I established the foundation.
Overruled. Go ahead.
Thank you.
That he had sobered up. That he had sobered up and he was not the monster again, that he was him. That he was a good guy I loved. The one that I trusted.
All right. Now I'm going to ask, Michelle, if you can take that one down and bring in 771, which has already been admitted. Now, those text exchanges were in the 6 o'clock to almost 7 o'clock range. And here, it's 5:22, it's now 8 o'clock, correct?
Yes.
And he's telling you, sorry if a bit, please know that my hurt towards you is over. My apologies are eternal and belong to you. Solid. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And was it your understanding he was apologizing again?
Objection, Your Honor. Calls for speculation.
All right. I'll sustain the objection.
Okay. Was there anything else he would have been apologizing for that he had done?
Objection. Calls for
I'll
speculation.
sustain the objection.
That's it. Okay. So tell the jury how you felt in that week, May 22 through May 27, and what you decided to do.
At the time, it felt like the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I had worked so hard to try to make this relationship work. I went to therapy, I went to Al-Anon, I got help, I read books, I did everything I could possibly do, and it didn't work. And I was conflicted. To answer your question, I was conflicted. I knew after he threw the phone at my face that after all that month of not seeing each other, that not getting better, not getting clean and sober, there wasn't even, I didn't, you know, it was falling apart, and I knew I had to leave him. I knew I wouldn't survive it if I didn't. So I made the decision to file for divorce. It was hard because, you know, I loved Johnny so much. I loved him so much.
And why did you file for divorce?
Because I knew if I didn't, I'd likely not literally survive. I'm so scared that it was going to end really badly for me. And I really didn't want to leave him. I loved him so much. I would have done anything, but I couldn't do that one thing. I couldn't stay. The promise and the hope that I had become less and less regular and more rare. The monster had been this thing that was now the normal and not the exception. The violence was now normal and not the exception. And it was so hard. It was so hard, but I knew I had to do it. They would have, I believe he would have taken it too far. I wouldn't be here.
Why did you ask for a domestic violence temporary restraining order?
I wanted to change my locks. I wanted to change my locks. I wanted a good night's sleep. Security would always let him into the house no matter what I asked them, no matter when I begged them to let me know when he was coming over, no matter how much I begged them not to let him in when he was mad or drunk or high. And I couldn't sleep. I'd wake up in a panic. I was losing hair. I was losing weight. I got really sick. I had shingles. I couldn't sleep. I'd wake up in a panic attack. I had panic attacks all the time. I was falling apart. I was scared and very conflicted because the person I was scared of is also the person I was in love with. Really, really tricky. And I was thinking one step at a time. You know, I was thinking very myopically. I wanted just to get a good night rest, a good night's sleep. I just wanted to change my locks. I thought it'd be healthier if I got some sleep and I could think about what to do or how to handle this. If I just could sleep. And when I did, I realized that that wasn't enough, that he could get in any way, that the building wasn't going to stop him from getting a locksmith and coming in. I knew that he would do what he wanted.
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
Overruled.
Not offered to, thank you.
All right, next.
Okay. So did Mr. Depp show up for the hearing on the DVTRO?
No, he didn't.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And why did you show up?
Because I had to provide testimony for why I needed a restraining order.
What, if any, warning did you give Mr. Depp about obtaining the DVTRO?
We gave him warning. My counsel and his counsel were in communication, and we let them know. We had to. It was mandatory. It's my understanding of it. I'm not a lawyer.
Was there any confusion surrounding whether Mr. Depp was going to file suit as well?
Objection, Your Honor, calls for speculation.
I'm asking
lack of
for-
foundation.
All right, I'll sustain as the foundation if you want.
Did you have any confusion as to whether Mr. Depp was going to file as well?
So I filed for divorce on the 23rd, I believe, and I thought that when I went in that Tuesday, when we filed for it, remarkably, it managed to stay under the radar. You know, these filings are not private. You can't make them private in California. And remarkably, it had flown under the radar. No one picked up on the fact that I had filed. And as limited as it sounds now, I just wanted as much privacy as we could have. You know, one day at a time, I wanted as much privacy as we could possibly get. And the filing had been missed by TMZ and, you know, these paparazzi outlets and stuff. But between the communications between our counsel, I realized that Johnny was going to file in retaliation.
Objection, hearsay.
All right, I'll sustain the objection.
I'm trying to think how to ask this. So, without saying what the counsel said, what was your understanding and what was your concern?
Objection, hearsay.
I'll sustain the objection.
All right, well, let's move on. Michelle, can you bring up Defendant's Exhibit 800, please? Move the admission of Defendant's Exhibit 800.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right, 800 in evidence and publish.
Amber, can you describe for the jury what this picture is?
It's a picture of my face while I'm sitting at the courthouse.
And were you wearing any makeup?
I was wearing nothing, not a stitch of makeup.
Michelle, can you bring up 801, please? Move the admission of 801.
No objection.
801 in evidence, publish.
And Amber, if you can tell the jury what this is.
That's me while I was obtaining my restraining order. It's me in the courthouse.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you do while you were at the courthouse? Did you testify?
Oh, I provided testimony and sat there and cried.
And did you obtain a domestic violence restraining order? Temporary
I
restraining?
did. The court granted me a restraining order at that time.
Okay. When you left the courthouse, what did you experience?
I walked into the courthouse. It was quiet. First thing in the morning. No one knew about my divorce, so I thought it was going to stay that way, and I walked out to a sea of paparazzi and cameras, photographers. It was, to that point, at that point in my life, had never seen so many photographers, and they just surrounded me as I walked out of that courthouse and screamed at me, screamed horrible things at me.
I'm going to take you just for a moment to make up, and then that would put
Okay,
after
good
that.
break point. Okay, great.
That'll be
All right,
a
thank
good
you.
breaking point.